Well, hello. Welcome back, or welcome to, if it's your first time. Brilliant introduction. If you're new here, basically what I do is I watch a movie, I sit down and I ramble about it. One take, for the better or the worse, usually the worse, but that's fine. If you're into that, awesome. If not, feel free to not watch this. Anyway, spoiler alert, you know the drill. Talking about the movie, things that happen in the movie, scenes, etc. So if you don't want anything spoiled, skip ahead on the timestamp to the little friggin' part that says thoughts. Starting off excellent, right? As usual. Anyway, thoughts will usually not have spoilers. If it does, I'll try to put spoilers in brackets so you're aware, so you can just not watch the whole video at all or skip right to the rating. Anyway, that being said, what did we watch today? Well, I just watched The Tunnel for the first time, which is an Australian found footage film. Triple F. Stupid. Yeah, so let's get into it, essentially. We have me taking a sip of water first. Or a chug, one or the other. Anyway, movie time. So, we open up the story. We have a police call that is recorded of some woman frantically trying to get emergency assistance. So it's like a 911 call or 000 call. Because in Australia it's 000, I think, instead of 911. Or is that the UK? I think it's Australia. Doesn't matter. It's an emergency call nonetheless. And this woman is frantic, saying my friend's dying, and then it just cuts out. So right away we're like, how did that happen? And then we find out. So, rewind time, and we are introduced to Natasha, who is a reporter doing current affairs type stuff, and she is assigned, or she isn't assigned, but she gets a lead from a YouTube video of all things, much to the perplexion, I guess would be the word, of her peers. But she wants to investigate this underground tunnel story. So, what had happened is the Australian government, New South Wales or Sydney government, I don't know if it's like provincial or municipal, but anyway, the government there's a water crisis for whatever reason. And what they want to do is they want to use the old unused subway tunnels to, I guess, disperse water. I don't really know. I don't know if this was a thing that actually happened in Sydney or not, but that's what the story is going for. Anyway, there are ongoing reports of homeless people living down there, so if they do use it, all these people would be displaced or potentially drown or whatever. So it's a whole big thing. But unlike most stories, to this reporter's knowledge anyway, it's not solved or resolved. It just sort of disappears and is like evaporates away from everything. So she wants to investigate it. We're also introduced to Steve, who is the cameraman. He's been to like the Gulf War and everything, so he's got a pretty stacked resume, I guess, for that station or whatever. In some of the found footage clips, we're also introduced to a man by the name of Tangles. I don't remember his real name. I think it's like Jim or Jack or something, but they just call him Tangles. He's got fancy hair, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Tangles is the sound guy, essentially. And then our fourth and final hero is Peter, who is another reporter who is kind of frenemies with Natasha, maybe? I don't really know. It's implied that they had like a fling, but they're also very competitive about, who's going to get the best story. Anyway, Pete is all pumped about this China story that he's going to be going to China and doing interviews for and whatever, and their boss, I assume his name's John because they mentioned John later in the movie, takes him off. I don't know why, but there we go. He basically assigns him to work with Natasha. I was going to call her Nat, whatever, it'll be easier. Work with Nat on this tunnel story, because obviously there's something there. It's also alluded to that Nat is kind of like, this is her last chance to prove herself or whatever, is doing this tunnel story. Like, are there homeless people down there? Why did they stop doing it? So we have little clips of them trying to approach ministers, and one minister just says no comment, whatever, and walks like right past them and stuff. So nobody is willing to comment on why this whole thing got dropped, why they're not pursuing the water emergency solution, why they're not addressing the potential homeless population down there, etc. So they set off, and Natasha basically grabs her crew and says, okay, we're good to go, let's do this. So John has basically said, do what you have to do to get the story and make it happen. And that's basically what she tells everyone, and they're like, okay, let's do this. So they sneak. Well, they don't sneak. They go into the subway tunnels, like the main area where people are, and a security officer stops them and is like, okay, like, you can't go down there. He sees them walking to like a restricted area and like a maintenance area or something like that. He says, you can't go down there. And you see Nat going up to him, and they're talking quietly, and then she comes back. She goes to Pete's like, how much money do you have in your wallet? He's like, are you fucking serious? We're gonna bribe him? Anyway, it's obviously not enough because he tells them to go kick rocks, so they gotta find another way in. And of course they do, because the movie has to happen. I said that condescendingly, but no, they find another way. Another maintenance area, but it's all like fenced off and everything, and they're basically B&Eing, and the rest of the crew is kind of hesitant, but Nat's like, no, like, trust me. John says, do whatever you have to do to get the story. It's going to be big. They're like, okay, whatever. That's what he says. The things you do for, I don't know, whatever they're going for, clout. Anyway, they get into the tunnel, and they get to the main, the first area that actually looks like a main subway tunnel, like a disused one, obviously. So there's like the big ass thing, the tracks. There's still emergency lights on, so there's power still going to it. It's just no longer on the system or being utilized, and that's after going through a couple of like maintenance tunnels and whatnot. And yeah, eventually they end up going a little deeper. They find like more maintenance tunnels, and there's like a little ladder that's going down into where apparently there's like an underground lake. So it's like a water reservoir or something like that, which I assume is what they were talking about, the water crisis, what they want to utilize. It would be essentially clean water. I mean, it's in concrete, whatever. There might be sediment or whatever, but you just filter it and it'll be fine. I don't know if it's a drought they're experiencing or what it is, but anyway, there's this lake in one of the tunnels, if that makes sense. I guess they have to make them because, yeah, like if the subway is underground and the subway tunnel floods, the water has to go somewhere lower, or else you're not going to be able to use your subways. You have to use submarines, which that's stupid, and I shouldn't have said it because it's ridiculous. Anyway, where the hell was I? Right, so they find this lake, and apparently, like, oh yes, yeah. So Steve and Tangles are like, they fuck around a lot. Apparently, excuse my language, but I swear something. I'm sorry. They fuck around a lot, and so Steve goes to like fake push Tangles into like the lake, but he does, and he loses his footing, actually falls in the water. And the first thing I'm thinking is like, okay, are we gonna get something crazy? No. Just falls and it gets wet. It's just establishing that they're jokers. That was a really great sentence. But yeah, it's basically just a shot establishing that they dick around a lot. So, great, we know that now. Anyway, we get to a place called the Bell Room. So apparently this particular part of the tunnel was utilized in World War II as an air raid shelter. So there's a like really old ass bell in there that would be used, and it would echo throughout all of the tunnels and whatnot, and warn people if there's an airstrike on U.S. soil or whatever reason, which we know didn't really happen. Well, Pearl Harbor, but you know what I'm saying. Mainland, continental, whatever. Anyway, so they want to get some shots of the bell, and they want to get some sound, but it's insanely loud, so whatchamacallit, Tangles is like, alright, can someone like check the audio levels? I'm going to go down this tunnel a little bit, because it'll like dampen the volume or whatever, make it like cushion it or whatever. I don't know what the term is. I'm not an audio engineer, but anyway, it'll make it not spike essentially. So Steve's like, okay, I'll watch the levels. He goes down there, and they ring the bell, and it sounds okay, but as they ring it, they hear what sounds like muffled screaming or like shuffling or something down there. And they call out, and he's not responding. So they're like, okay, what the hell? That ain't good. So they have a lot of equipment, obviously. They leave some of it there, and they go down the tunnel to go find their buddy Tangles here. And, yeah. Can't find him. That's not good. They do find there's a clip, of Nat listening to the audio from what he recorded for the first time. So it's like already in the interview section, segment, future part of the movie, where they show the scene and then they show her in the studio listening to it for the first time, and you hear her, like muffled screaming, dragging, and then the audio just cuts. So not looking good for our buddy. Yeah. So at this point, the first intelligent thing in a movie that I've seen in a long time is someone says, let's split up, because, that's what you do in these kind of movies, right? But right away, Pete's like, no, we're not doing that. Someone or something, got our buddy. Safety in numbers, all that stuff. Also, they found the camera that they put down when they were going to investigate or something had moved, so something had moved it. And they look at the video and they show a clip, a very, very brief clip of something that had moved the camera. They show them putting it down and walking off and the camera moving and filming them. So at this point, they were still looking for their buddy Tangles, and they found this room where there's a single, those plastic school chairs. I don't know if you know exactly what I'm talking about or not, but one of those in a room with blood everywhere. So that's fun. Yeah. And they find Tangle's flashlight. Torch is what they call it. That's what it is down there. So yeah, he's clearly toast, or we have to assume. Obviously they're kind of panicking, they're freaking out. They're like, okay, let's get the hell out of here. Which they do. Of course, they're trying to, get cell signal and stuff. They take a little breather after trying to figure out what's going on. But the problem is the map that they have doesn't show every tunnel. It shows a lot of them, but there are some that are not on this map. So whether they were added later or whether they were just deemed unnecessary because they're not useful anymore or whatever, so be it. They're doing a pretty good job at navigating, though. They were able to get to the underground lake and the bell room and all that stuff, so that's good. But they hear something down a barricaded corridor, and that's that's where they find the room with the chair and all that. My bad. And they see the blurry thing, and they're basically, okay, we're getting out of here. We don't want to leave Buddy, obviously, but it doesn't look good. So they start heading out, and then they hear a noise, and they're like, quick, turn off all the lights, turn off the lights, everything. And they hear shuffling, and there's a dim light, and you hear hello, and lo and behold, it's the security guy who didn't take their bribe. And he's like, is anyone down there? Yeah, it's the film crew. And he's like, I told you guys not to come down here. And they're like, yeah, something or someone got one of our friends, we don't know where he is. And the security guard just stops, and it turns 50 Shades of White. Totally different movie than Grey. And he's like, okay, you need to come with me. They're like, okay. Great, they got security. That's something, right? Anyway, security is leading the way. And as he crosses a four-way, there's a big gray blur. Security guy's gone. So something rushed him, and he's toast. So they're all freaking the hell out, clearly, right? What happened, right? This ain't a human thing. They thought maybe it was an aggressive homeless person or something like that, or someone with mental disabilities that, still scary, but no, this is a thing. It's a thing, it's not a person. So yeah, Pete ends up getting injured somehow, in probably the scuffle or whatever, and he's bleeding, and they patch him up, and they hear something else, which ends up being this thing, and so they go through this little crawl space thing, and all of a sudden you see Pete yoink, and as Steven turns and the light goes on, then the creature drops him right away and kind of slinks into the darkness, and you can actually get a pretty good view of it. Not phenomenal, it still is a shadowy thing, but better than the half-second blurry glimpse of before. So now they know it's a thing. It's not a person. I mean, they already knew that, but now they know even more. All right, good time. So, security guy dead. Buddy's dead. Pete's injured. They still got to get out of here. They come to a split. It's like 2 ways, but the map only shows one, and it doesn't veer to any of the sides where these two veer off like that. So they're like, listen, I think it's this one. And then one of the other ones is like, well, what if it's not? And they're like, well, then we just wait it out. Oh, that's brilliant. Well, John knows we're down here. If we don't show up tomorrow, he'll obviously send people. Silence. Turns to Nat. John knows we're down here, right? Silence. No, so apparently he doesn't. She lied because she needs this story, and she just wanted to take it upon her own self to go get the story however she could. In her defense, she didn't know there was a thing in the tunnels, so that's fine. But I mean, there's still like the chance of injury in like a pitch black corridor, or like what if your light goes out, which eventually one of them does. Perfect, right? So they have, I think, 2 extra batteries or something. This thing shows up again. Basically, it launches like a, you know those little push carts? Like you see like Snidely Whiplash or Wile E. Coyote using them in the cartoons where they're like doing the lever up and down and it goes on the track. Anyway, one of those that they saw earlier goes flying and almost smokes them. Or maybe it does hit them, I'm not sure. But anyway, you can't see because the camera's all jarred because they're trying to either get out of the way or getting hit by it. No one dies from it, obviously, but it's a clear sign that this thing's intelligent. It's trying to... I guess they aimed it at Pete because Pete's injured, so it's trying to like get the weakest one, like predators in the wild would do. Lions do that, you know, find... You know, a lion against a perfectly healthy... Fuck, I can't speak. A lion versus a perfectly healthy wildebeest. A lot of times it's not going to end very well for the lion. It's way more work than it's worth. But you find an old one or a sick one or a baby one, they're ripe for the picking, basically. So this thing is thinking like that. They say, okay, this guy's injured, the other 2 aren't. Let's take him out first. Oh, I forgot to mention, they eventually do find the security guard alive up to his chest in water. I guess there's another underground lake or something. Or maybe it's the same one. I'm not sure. It's not really specified, but... His eyes are missing, so that's great. And then they show the creature slowly coming up behind him and grabbing his head and twisting it slowly. And you hear snap, and then it kind of like breaks. And you see it starting to either eat its neck or drink his neck or something. And obviously, the guy was still alive, so it killed him in front of them, and they got it on camera. So good story. He got lots of good clips. Fuck. Anyway, Nat lets out a little bit of a gasp, involuntary, and of course the creature turns and is like looking. It obviously can see in the dark. Like even the little infrared light that's on the camera would probably be noticeable to it if it looked in that direction. So anyway, chase ensues. Maybe that's the part where they grab it grabs Pete. I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter. There's a bunch of chases, a bunch of like near calls and whatnot. They find a jammed door and they can't open it, but there's like or they're at a dead end, I should say, sorry, and they can't really figure anything out. There's another room where there's a grate where they can actually see like an underground section of highway, and even a car passes by, and so like Nat's screaming. I mean, you're not going to get the attention of someone driving in a car in an underground tunnel, because like the echoes make even just the driving loud, plus the windows are probably up, plus he's listening to music probably, we don't know. Anyway, the chance of anyone hearing you, since there's no pedestrian walking area, is very slim. But she's yelling anyway because she's desperate, and in that situation, you panic, right? Anyway, they shut her up quickly because, yeah, that thing is going to hear you screaming, so that's great. They get to another room with a dead end, and they find a piece of wall that's deteriorating a little bit, so they rip it off, and it leads to another corridor, which I guess it was sealed off with like boards, but they were rotting or something, so they pull that off. Yeah, at one point they get separated. I think that's what happens. It's when I don't remember. They get separated, and Nat is alone, and so she's freaking out. She does end up finding the other guys again, and all that stuff. That's what happened. Okay, so she is standing there, and then the two boys get bum rushed by this creature, and she runs. So she doesn't have a flashlight, I don't think, at this point, because I think they had the flashlight. So she's using like the camera's like night vision to see, which, good idea, to be fair. Like, I have a camera with night vision too. It's an old ass one. It doesn't work anymore, but it was very good for that kind of stuff. I remember walking down a path and seeing eyes and freaking out, and it's just a deer. It's like, okay, well, that is creepy anyway. So she has this night vision on her camera. She's kind of using it, or maybe there's like a really dim light. It's hard to tell. It kind of looks like a kind of shitty camera anyway, so maybe not made for those dark environments, right? But regardless, she has that. She's kind of fumbling around, and she ends up running into the boys, and they're not dead. They heard her scream, and they come to. The creature didn't kill them for whatever reason, so they run to her. She's been dragged by this creature, and it's like trying to drown her. Oh man. This creature, I don't know what it is, by the way. They call it the Stalker in the film, but it sounds like it's saying something in like a deep guttural language. Like, it's not English or anything, clearly, but like it's saying something. So right away my mind is like, is it a demon? Because it kind of has that, like, you know, demons sound sort of like they're two voices that are similar on top of each other. I don't know if that makes sense, but like in a lot of movies they do that. Or anything supernatural almost has like a half fraction of a beat of an echo. I don't know if I'm explaining that properly, but anyway, it's talking like that, and it's saying some shit in some language that we don't know. I don't know, maybe it's Aramaic, maybe it's Swahili, maybe it's French. No, I'm kidding. I speak a little bit of French, so it's definitely not French. But anyway, the boys come, save the day, but it goes and gets Pete, so that's not good. Nat and Steve run. Obviously she wants to go get Pete, but you know, we saw what happened to Tangles, we saw what happened to the security guy. Not looking good, unfortunately, for Pete. But so what are they going to do, right? So they end up running, and they end up finally making their way back to that first unused tunnel section, like the tracks and everything. So you have the emergency lights on, and this thing does not like light. We've established that, so they're essentially safe from it. And then they hear Pete in the darkness still, so they go run and get him, and he's like limping, and they've got his arms around them, and they pull it out, and it cuts to a security camera of the platform with people walking around going about their day, and this maintenance door flying open, and the three of them running, and Pete's like barely conscious. And then they cut to her like screaming, like, someone give me your cell phone. Cut to that 000 call from the beginning, the emergency call. What do you call it in Australia? Do you call it like 000 or 000 or 000? Because we, you know how we say like 911. I'm just curious. Like anyone's gonna answer that. But anyway, they call that, and it basically shows from her perspective that call, and it's cutting out on her end as well. I mean, they're underground, right? So it's not gonna have the best signal. Anyway, needless to say, Pete dies. Paramedics get there too late. Goes on to say that it was even hard to like pull Nat away from Pete's body to like assess the death. He died from internal injuries, internal bleeding. So this thing smacked him around pretty good, I guess. And then we see kind of like the end of her saying like, man, like, it's, I don't want to blame myself, but I blame myself, that kind of deal. Turns out that then we get little write-ups about some of the characters. So Nat resigns, Pete died, obviously. They see the date and time. I don't remember what it is. It's not really important right now. Steve's still working. He's still doing his job. That didn't deter him, which, you know, good on you, Steve. His name's Steve Miller, by the way, so I wonder if he has a band. Okay, that's really... my age is showing now, for sure. I'm not even a Steve Miller Band fan. I don't really know their stuff. Maybe they're good. I don't know. But anyway, that was funny to me, and it's not funny to anyone else, so you get to hear it anyway and not laugh at me. And then, yeah, they never found Tangle's body. His family is, like, trying to, you know, get the investigation opened up again, but police closed the case due to conflicting evidence or something like that. So that's good. And then at the last comment on the film says that police and government officials were contacted, but they didn't get any response, and they all basically, without saying it, declined to be a part of this video, interview, documentary, whatever it is. And that's the end. that's Tunnel. What did I think? Well, it was fun. I will say, I'm not like super well versed in like the Australian horror genre or whatever, but I've seen a couple. I can't remember the name of that. Wolf Creek is one I've seen for sure, and I really like that movie. Can't remember what I rated it, but like I enjoyed it. This one I also enjoyed. Yeah, they have a really cool kind of like synthy track over the opening credit part, which is really neat. But the rest of the movie is found footage. There's no music, obviously, right? But that was kind of cool. And yeah, it's found footage, so I mean, you have to be into that, obviously, right? If you're not into found footage, it might not be your thing. There are some cool moments, though. Again, without spoilers, there's like a couple of jump scares. There's nothing crazy, though. The film has a very good mix, I will say, of jump scares and just like ominous, foreboding feeling when you're watching it. So like you don't... It's the anticipation of seeing something building up just the right amount, mixed with just the right amount of like jump scares. And there's no like, oh, it's just a cat or something stupid like that scares. There's one, I guess, that could be kind of misleading. I'm not going to go into it, but you'll know what I'm talking about if you see it. But I mean, it was pretty obvious what it was. So, I mean, I don't think many would be fooled by that. So it's pretty straight up. It doesn't go for many of those cheap kind of things. Some people argue jump scares in general are cheap. I don't think so. I think they could be done well. They're fun. Overall, what I think, the cast, they were, you know, they played their parts believable. They seem like real enough people, so I mean that's cool. I don't know much about the underground, like, abandoned tunnels or rail lines of Sydney, so I don't know how accurate it was, but it looked pretty realistic, so I assume they filmed in, like, some real locations. Again, because the budget wouldn't be, like, phenomenal. It's found footage, right? So, there's that. What else can I say about it? I don't know, just in general, it's pretty solid. Yeah, again, I don't want to go into spoilers, so it's hard to do this. I have to figure out a way to explain a movie better without talking about spoilers, because I always want to say, oh, and then this scene was neat because of this, but I can't do that because I did that once and I didn't realize it and I didn't put spoilers and someone yelled at me, so my bad. I don't want that to happen again because I don't want to ruin a movie for someone. So, that being said, overall, the flow was good too. I mean, like any found footage film, the beginning is just kind of like an establishing type deal. Like, tell us what the story is, what the characters are doing, why they're going on this adventure, where they're going. And some of the fun, like, interspersed, like, little bar scenes and stuff of them just, like, chatting and laughing and stuff. You know, it's kind of necessary. But yeah. So there you go. There you have it. What am I going to rate this one? Now, again, I do like found footage films. The good ones. There are some pretty rough ones out there, but this one was pretty fun. What is the rewatch value for me? I'll apply this to that as well. I think I would watch it again. Maybe not like tomorrow, but I think there is rewatch value to it. It was rather realistic. Sorry if that popped the audio. I'm not an expert like Tangles, so you'll have to forgive me. What do I rate this? You know what? I'm gonna go like a... Do I give it a high 5 or a low 6, man? I don't know. I'll give it a 6.071. 3. There we go. 6.0713. That's the tunnel. Yeah, check it out. Like I said, if you're not into found footage things, you may not give a rat's ass about it. But if you're indifferent to found footage, just depends whether the movie's good or not. I'd say it's worth a watch. It's pretty well done. Like I said, the pacing is good, the scares are good, there's like a mix of that ominous feeling of like, dread, and jumps, but not like cheap jumps. So, overall, quite well done. The Aussies did it again. Yeah. Wish I could remember the names of those other Australian horror movies I watch other than Wolf Creek and this one, but they're good. I'm gonna have to look more into the Australian horror scene because, yeah, like I said, everything I've seen so far I've enjoyed. Anyway, rambling on. That's the film. So 6.0 whatever the hell I said. And check it out. And we'll see you next time.